and we'll start this webinar. So today we're going to head through Grandstream's remote work and collaboration solutions. Quite an opportune topic at the moment with people that are either working from home. Most people at some stage will return to some sort of an office environment. However, what I think we may start to see is people starting to work from home on an ongoing basis, even if that may only be 1 or 2 days a week. So some of the things that we'll cover off today may well be very relevant and very important for people to take into consideration. So just to give everyone a quick look at the agenda for today. So we'll be covering off some remote work considerations. So some things that people need to think about. An overview of our remote solutions, remote meetings and conferences, which I'm sure everyone's been starting to do a lot more of. Remote VoIP solutions, remote Wi-Fi networking and VPNs. These are sorts of things that we need to consider working from home for various reasons, and we'll cover off some vertical solution examples, and then we'll have a general Q&A session at the end of it as well. So some of the remote work considerations that people may want to take into account and may not have even necessarily thought of so far. A lot of the tech that we need for communications, we already use on a daily basis, and that already will support remote use. It may just need some slightly different configuration to enable us to utilize some of that tech that we already have. So I guess the important thing here is what a lot of this revolves around and working from home revolves around is not necessarily new technology. It's about taking what technology is already out there and just using it and looking at it in a different way and from a different perspective. So a business may not necessarily want to purchase equipment that they've already got. So can they reutilize some of that equipment? Can they use it in a different way? What do they need though to complement the solutions they already have? So this is the important thing I've been saying to anyone that's been asking questions around this. When you're looking at buying equipment or purchasing equipment for staff to work from home or to work remotely, or even if it's your own business to work remotely, which may be for the first time, look at purchasing equipment that will complement and have a value later on when things start to return to some sort of normality. So where are your deficiencies in your communication equipment at the moment or your communication strategy, and focus on building that side of it out. Don't just go and automatically buy everyone the $20, $30, $50 phone to sit on their desk at home. Because when you go back to the office, is that going to be an asset to the business? Or are you better looking at solutions that will help them to work more efficiently once they get back to the office? So would something like a DECT phone be more equivalent? Or would a Wi-Fi cordless phone be more relevant? So that when they're back at work, they can start to roam around the office and be able to work in a more mobile function when they're back in the office. So as we can see here, Wi-Fi and DECT endpoints, they're ideal for remote use. Perfect for at home, because we may not always have the data point right next to where we're setting up the desk at home. So we're going to have great long Ethernet cables potentially running to connect phones. So what we're better off looking at is things like Wi-Fi and DECT, which can also complement when we move back into the office, so that we have that mobility in the office. And then also we need to think about how we're going to remotely monitor and manage devices. So one of the products that we recently launched is a product called GDMS, or a platform, which is a management system for managing the Grandstream voice endpoints. That is a free solution. It's at gdms.cloud, and that is a perfect solution for monitoring and also managing devices remotely, be that as an integrator to manage them on behalf of your customer, or manage them within your own business. If you're a larger business with a larger number of staff working remotely, you can start to do those tasks without necessarily having to head to people's individual homes to resolve any issues they may have. So Grandstream, as you can see here, has a wide range of remote solutions. Obviously, we've got the PBX, then we head down through the phones on the right-hand side. We've got the wireless access points. We've got GDMS and GWN Cloud, which are our cloud management platforms. GDMS is for the phones. GWN Cloud is for the access points. Down the left-hand side, we have our video conferencing solutions. which can be either desk-based or a dedicated video conferencing endpoint, and we'll cover those off in a bit more detail later on. So we can roughly separate it into three categories. So we have IP video talk, which we can use for meetings and conferencing, which is something that we've all been starting to have to do a lot more from home. In the VoIP side, we've got the PBXs, we've got the phones. Let's not forget the ATAs and gateways. People have some analog devices that they need to get working. Obviously, we've got the ATAs and gateways for those as well. And then on the networking side, we have the access points. We've got GW and Cloud to manage them. And then we also have some Wi-Fi enabled endpoints that allow us to connect into that Wi-Fi network as well. So for meeting and conferencing solutions, we have IP Video Talk Meetings, which is our cloud-based platform. We have a number of changes to our plans in that. We have the GVC series, which is our dedicated video conferencing endpoints. And then we have also have IPVT10, which is a server-based appliance, which has all the functionality of IP Video Talk, but allows the business to have that totally within their own network and have total control over that infrastructure. So working remotely with IP Video Talk. Essentially, it is a cloud-based platform. It's full WebRTC based, so it does not need people to install a specific application on their device to attend a meeting. It allows remote team meetings, virtual classrooms, telehealth consultations, online fitness classes, etc. It allows people to meet anywhere, anytime on nearly any device, and that is because it is WebRTC based. Essentially, like today, you'll get an email for a meeting with a link. You click on that and you come into the meeting. What we're using today is we are actually using IP Video Talk, but we're using it as in a webinar mode versus in a video conference mode. So we're actually utilizing that platform today. So we have plans that allow up to 150 participants and 49 video feeds to be on single conferences or single video calls. Even our free basic plan allows for 50 participants and 49 video feeds. So we can have one conference with 50 people on it and 49 video feeds all going at once. And we also allow at the moment, through until the end of September, we're allowing unlimited webinars. After that, we will roll that back to a set number of webinars per month that will be allowed on that free plan. Not bad for a free plan though. It allows people to attend on PC, Mac, Android, iOS devices. The list goes on. So essentially, what equipment they have, they're able to utilize and join those conferences without any specific equipment. It allows screen sharing. As you're seeing today, you're seeing my screen. It allows private and group chat. So in the chat session, we have group chat where we can send it to everyone. There's a toggle box at the top, which allows you to either send it to everyone in the chat or to send it to an individual participant. It allows for recording. It allows for webinars, as we're seeing today. And we can also have the option for PSTN or VoIP dial-in numbers if people are wanting to come in as an audio-only participant. And our plans on IP Video Talk can also be expanded to integrate with our GVC series of video conferencing endpoints. So now we start to move into the GVC series. A little bit about the picture on the left-hand side. This is the Spanish Prime Minister. He's using Grandstream video conferencing endpoints to run his parliament remotely. So we have a Grandstream GVC endpoint under the screen, and then we also have a GAC 2500, which is one of our speakerphone products, sitting on the desk in front of him, and he is running his parliament remotely. So this type of solution is perfect for government, schools, courts, larger enterprises. Once everyone moves back into the office, into meeting rooms and huddle rooms and boardrooms. So it allows people to hold formal video conferences for essential on-location staff, connecting with remote attendees, so people that are not on site. It has full integration for third-party SIP, H323 platforms, supports IP Video Talk, and also IPVT10. The GVC 3210, which is the one pictured under that photo, is a high-end, we'll class it as a home video conferencing solution, perfect at this point in time for people that need high quality video from a home endpoint. However, it can also be utilized in huddle spaces and smaller boardrooms when we go back to the office. It supports up to 4K resolution, supports Wi-Fi, and it's also Android based. It is an all-in-one device. It has it has microphones in the device. It also has a 4K electronic pan-tilt zoom camera. And as I say, it's an all-in-one device designed to sit on top of the screen and connect back into IPVideo Talk to be able to take part in video conferences. And then for larger enterprises, potentially touching into education environments, we have remote working with IPv10. So as we say here, enterprises, school districts, hospitals, government. It is an enterprise-grade on-premise conferencing server. So it allows someone to create a large-scale collaboration solution across their total organization. It'll support up to 300 participants. It allows people to schedule, host and attend meetings on PCs, Mac, iOS, Android devices, the VoIP dial-in. So we're seeing all the same functionality that we saw in IPVideo Talk. However, this is a server-based appliance that we can put within our own network or our own enterprise and have direct control over that. And we can also include support for the GVC room devices and the room systems, but we're still able to invite those external participants using WebRTC and then being able to connect on any device that they currently have at hand. Now we'll move a little bit more across into the VoIP solutions and how these all come into play. So remote working with the UCM series. So people may have a UCM sitting in their office, or they may be looking to set up a small office from home. Things such as businesses, enterprises, hospitals, schools, again, same type of environments. It allows us to create a virtual communication network. We can configure it to support remote devices. So obviously we'll need to look at the security of those remote devices, but it allows us to hang remote devices off that PBX that we may already have sitting in the office. We can do remote device provisioning and deployment through the web GUI. It'll support video calling and conferencing. Yes, to a smaller number of participants, but it will still allow us to have that basic functionality. It allows us to build VPN tunnels from home offices to the UCM network so that we can secure that endpoint and we're not leaving a vulnerability within our network. We can have multiple concurrent SIP registrations. So we can have multiple SIP trunks running into the UCM and have people being able to call out over them. And we also, within that, we have a solution called Grandstream Wave, which is a soft phone client. So it allows people to then take their extension with them on their mobile device, be it iOS or Android, and we can produce a barcode for them to scan to set up the Grandstream Wave client on their mobile end device, and then they are reachable anywhere that they have either mobile coverage or Wi-Fi coverage. The beautiful thing of using such a thing as a Grandstream Wave is we can have our extension on our mobile phone, we can ring our clients through Grandstream Wave. They're seeing it as though we're calling from the office, and we're not necessarily just disclosing our personal or our private mobile number to our end customers. Remote working with our GXV series of Android phones. So again, we've got similar types of workers that we may be utilizing it for. Healthcare, it's a big thing for telehealth. It allows an all-in-one device to sit on a desk and be able to conduct telehealth consultations. Again, government, aged care homes, independent living units. We're seeing in a lot of environments at the moment, specifically aged care homes and retirement villages and the likes, we're starting to have them locked down. This allows a way for people to keep in touch with their family and friends. We have a video calling solution available through both Android and SIP. It has a three-way video bridge built into the device. But we still have the full Android tablet functionality. So we can join meetings, we can attend webinars, we can chat with friends using Google or using Android apps. We can stay connected with Google services. So a lot of the Google services we can download to this. We can even browse the web if we want to. So essentially we have a fully functioning Android tablet with a phone attached to it. So it is allowing for a multi-use device. We can create a home video conferencing solution. We've got HDMI in and out, allowing us to take the image and put it up onto a larger screen. Or we have HDMI in, so we can plug laptops in and we can start to do things like content sharing and all these sorts of things. It also supports Bluetooth, so we can connect Bluetooth headsets or Bluetooth speakers to it, or any other Bluetooth devices to these Android phones and further expand the functionality of them. One thing I will point out, which not necessarily everyone knows, you have the camera up the top of the device. On all the Grandstream Android phones, we have a little spin wheel at the back, or a little toggle wheel that actually allows us to spin the camera around into a privacy mode for people that may want to make sure that the camera is not on. I don't know how many times I've walked into meetings and the likes, people open up their laptops and they've got little bits of tape across the cameras. The little spinny wheel allows you to get around that function, allows you to get around that need. Working remotely with the WP series. So this is a newer category for us. We've had them out for probably about 12, 18 months now. We launched with the WP820. Now these are high quality Wi-Fi cordless phones for remote workers. So the reason these types of phones are perfect for home or remote working is most homes will have Wi-Fi access. If they don't, they're certainly planning on putting it in. They're easy to set up and they support seamless roaming. So because they are a SIP-based endpoint, you configure them the same as any other SIP endpoint. And they will support roaming between access point to access point. So if you're in a larger environment, you can obviously cover your full environment with multiple access points if needed, and then roam from one to the next as you're still on the call. A little bit like you would do with your mobile phone, moving from base station to base station. They're lightweight and compact, so obviously they're easy to use, easy to carry, easy to keep on you. It allows you to keep in touch with your co-workers. We have functionality in them which is called push to talk. Now, that's essentially a little bit like the old walkie-talkies. So it allows us to push a audio announcement out to multiple people in that same push to talk group at the same time. It is only a one-way form of communication, so we can only have one person talking at a time, but it allows us to get that functionality out very, very quickly. We also have 2 lines and 2 SIP accounts, so we can obviously put calls on hold, we can transfer, we can do all those sorts of things. The beauty of these sorts of devices, though, is when we all get back to the office, they expand the office network with wireless functionality. So we're then able to roam around that office while we're on the phone, rather than in the past we may have been stuck based at the desk because all we have is a desk phone. And then we have our newest model, which we run a webinar on, which we have a webinar coming on in 2 days, which is the WP810. So I encourage everyone to register for that webinar if they haven't yet. And that is our newest model, which we only announced just last week. So we'll start to cover off some of the features in that webinar. And then also we have people that a DECT solution is more suited for. So there is a whole blog section on our website which compares DECT and Wi-Fi voice and why you would look at one over the other depending on the environment that you're in. So I would encourage people to go to our website and have a quick look at that blog. So DECT is an affordable wireless phone solution for remote workers. It allows people to roam around any home. So typically, we have about a 50-metre indoor range, which for a lot of homes will be suitable. We can do up to about 300 metres outdoors. If we need to go past that, we can add repeaters and the likes to further extend that coverage indoors. Again, they're still lightweight and compact. They're about similar size to Wi-Fi cordless phones. We can keep in touch with our co-workers. We've got push-to-talk functionality. We can have 10 lines per base station. We can have all this sort of functionality sitting in there. We can do ring groups and hunt groups for sales teams, so we can configure that through the PBX. So you can still have the similar sort of functionality you may have in the office. So we can start to set up a ring group. So if someone comes in on our PBX and wants to speak to the sales team, we can have everyone's phones ring at once. Or we can hunt from person to person to person, depending on the priority of who we want them to be able to talk to in our sales team. This type of a solution does require a DECT handset, so whether a DP730, a 722 or a 720, and also a DECT base station, a DP750 or a DP752. So you need both. You need at least one handset and at least one base station for this solution to work. And again, later on, we can expand the office network when we get back to the office, because we'll still have some mobile functionality within that office to be able to walk around whilst we're on the phone. So one quick thing here, the deck phones, we need a base station and a handset. The Wi-Fi phones, all we need is the Wi-Fi phone and obviously an existing Wi-Fi network to be able to connect that to. And then moving into staying with more of a desk phone-based solution. So working from home with our GRP series, perfectly suited for remote workers. They recreate a familiar look and feel of the office at home. So people feel like they're working on their work phone at home. It allows them to use the same functionality that they do in the office and just pick up and run with it. Most homes have Wi-Fi, and all of the models in this range, except one, have inbuilt Wi-Fi or an option to have the inbuilt Wi-Fi in the particular phone. So again, we put it on the desk, we can connect it to the Wi-Fi network at home. We don't necessarily have to have Ethernet cablings running everywhere to connect it back into our home network. They're easy to manage remote deployments. There's unified firmware across all the models. So we have a single version of firmware that runs across all the models. Depending on the model that goes onto, it will enable or not allow specific features and functions dependent to that model handset. We can extend the presence of remote workers. So we've got this particular model here, the 2614, has dual LCDs. So we have a second customizable LCD screen down the bottom that we can utilize for presence or similar functions to that. We can also further adapt it for home use because we have models that have Bluetooth in them. So we can start to use Bluetooth headsets, or we can introduce Bluetooth speakers for if we're going to be on audio conference calls, and potentially we want a louder speaker to be able to hear those calls. We have that functionality. And we have dedicated endpoint hacking protection, which is ideal for remote. We have things such as secure boot. We have firmware checks. We have any of them that are Wi-Fi enabled. We have random default passwords set in the factory. We have all this functionality built into it to allow those endpoint devices to be secure at home. And then obviously, as I mentioned right at the start, we've got our HT series of our ATAs. This is Grandstream. This is our heritage. This is where we started from, making ATAs way back in 2002. We're still the largest manufacturer of ATAs globally, and we produce millions of these devices annually. They allow remote workers to utilize either analog or digital phones and fax machines while they're at home. And such businesses as lawyers, medical, healthcare, these sorts of businesses still rely on fax machines. So working from home, it allows people to be able to take those fax machines home and be able to utilize them in the home environment. They'll also extend advanced VoIP features to remote users on the analog phones, including things such as three-way voice conferencing and the likes. So starting to get some of that functionality by utilizing the analog phones. And they're easy to remotely deploy and manage. We can use TR69, we can use XML config. We have all of this functionality built into these devices. They're rock solid, they're bulletproof. They're used globally by internet providers and ITSPs in multiple countries across the globe. They're a tried and trusted endpoint. And then, as I mentioned, we also have the ability for remote work with Grandstream Wave. So it allows us to make and receive VoIP calls on any Android and iOS device. It is a free app. It supports 6 SIP accounts in total. So we have some functionality in there that we can use multiple SIP accounts. We can run multiple lines. Preloaded config settings for hundreds of service providers globally. However, if one is not there, it is a settings that you're able to manually configure into the device as well. It supports 6-way conferencing. It supports presence, and a whole lot more functionality in there. As I said, if we're using it in conjunction with the UCM series, we can create a barcode config that people just scan to actually set their settings up in the GS Wave app. So if people aren't using it, I would encourage them to download the GS Wave app, have a look at it, understand just how powerful it is for a free SIP endpoint or a SIP soft phone. And then to tie the whole lot together, we've got the remote device management with GDMS. So this is aimed more at either the IT manager, network manager, or the integrator. So it's a cloud provisioning, management, monitoring, and maintenance platform for Grandstream endpoints. So you will use this remote deployment scenario. The IT admin has configured the device on GDMS portal and ships the device to the end user without having to have even opened the box. The user connects the device to their wired or wireless network, and the device will automatically pick up the config. So what we can do here is, in conjunction with your distributor, you can have the credentials to be able to configure the device. You can have the device shipped directly from the distributor, drop shipped to the end user. They plug it in, and the device is up and running. For UCM users, GDMS is a great tool for ongoing management. So you don't need to set up port forwarding for remote access. You can get real-time alerts. So you can get email alerts for certain parameters that you want to set around those end devices. So you can start to know what's going on with your customers or the endpoints, and you can have alerts sometimes before they will even ring you. And then it obviously gives you extra maintenance tools and reports. As I've said, this is a free platform. It's available at gdms.cloud. I would encourage everyone, if you don't have an account, go to that address, sign up for a free account, start to understand just how powerful the device is, or how powerful the platform is. Now we'll move into our networking solutions. So this is composed of two parts. So we have our GWN series of access points, and then we have GWN Cloud. So working from home with our GWN access points, they allow people to deploy a home Wi-Fi network for remote users. Yes, we all have the Wi-Fi router that comes from our internet provider. Does it necessarily give us the best throughput speed? Does it necessarily give us the greatest coverage in our house? So we can start to putting these devices into our house. We can increase the coverage. We can provide fast speeds. We can start to get rid of any black spots that may be within the house. We can set up and manage the APs remotely using GWN.cloud. So it's like GDMS. It is a management platform for managing our access points. Again, it's free. I would encourage people to go to GWN.cloud, set up an account, and start to understand the power behind that. We can integrate them with VPN networks. We can pair with our Wi-Fi IP phones. So that's the WP series of phones. And the minute we do that, we start to get quality optimization between the devices. So we're automatically giving the highest priority to voice traveling over that Wi-Fi network. Any APs that we provide to a staff member's home, we can later on call them back to the office, and then we can use them to expand Wi-Fi coverage within the office. So think of the APs that you're buying. Think of buying APs that you can utilize later on. So you may, during staff working from home, you may provision some with internal access points. You may provision some with external access points, because when you move back to the office, you can then have a mixture. So you may use the external ones to cover outdoor areas outside the office, or loading bay areas or the likes. You use the internal ones to expand your coverage within the office. And our newest one is the GWN 7602, which is ideal for home offices. It's a Wi-Fi AP, and it also has a 4-port Ethernet switch in it, which provides PoE out from the device so that we can power things such as an IP phone and the likes. So again, covering off the platforms we have a meetings and conferences section, which is the IPVideo talk and all the video conferencing. We have voice and video, which comprises our UCMs, our handsets, our ATAs, our GDMS platform. And then networking, we have GWN Cloud, which is the management platform for the access points. We have our range of GWN access points. And then we also have the Wi-Fi enabled devices that can connect back into the Wi-Fi network. Some examples, business and enterprise. So they may use things such as web meetings and video conferences. They might use remote solutions such as IPVideo talk on their laptop, or they may utilize it with the GVC 3210 if they're wanting higher quality video. We have remote VoIP solutions with easy to use end devices. So we've got the UCM, we've got all the devices to hang, all the handsets to hang off the end of it. We've got the GS Wave free soft phone client. Then we've got the Wi-Fi access points and the remote device management. So we have GWN Cloud and we've got GDMS so that we can manage all of our devices remotely while they're sitting at the staff member's home. Education for virtual classrooms. As you can see here in the picture, this is in China. They're running their classrooms remotely using Grandstream video conferencing endpoints. So we can do virtual classrooms using IPVideo Talk and the GVCs. Remote access to the school phone platform, so we can have teachers and school staff working from home with remote extensions and remote phones. We have GDMS, which allows us to manage all of that remotely, either the IT manager of the school, or if you as the integrator are managing schools, it allows you the functionality to manage all of that remotely for them. Healthcare. So telehealth solutions and web staff meetings. We may use a mixture of Android video phones and IP video talk. We can record procedures that will involve remote doctors and specialists using our GVC range of video conferencing endpoints, providing high definition and high quality video feeds to the remote doctors for them to have their advice and their input. And we can ensure doctors and nurses are always reachable. We've got Wi-Fi phones. We've got Wi-Fi cordless phones, we've got DECT phones, we've got the Grandstream Wave soft client that they can install on their personal mobile device, be roaming across the facility over the Wi-Fi network and be reachable on their extension of the PBX. So straight away we can get hold of people as we need to. And government, we've already covered this one off. We've already seen the picture before. So as we can see, formal web meetings and video conferences, IP video talk and our GVCs. Room-based systems for critical on-location staff. We can use our GVC dedicated video conferencing endpoints. And remote and traveling personnel connected. We can keep them all connected and reachable using either Android video phones, the Grandstream Wave soft client, Wi-Fi cordless phones, or remote desk phone extensions. Now, I know there's been a lot of information in that. What I'll do now is I will throw that open to some questions that people may have. I'll start to have a bit of a look back. I think there's been some questions coming through. Was there anything that you wanted to add to anything that I've covered here?
No, I think just answering the questions via the group chat. Thank you, everyone who's been asking. Feel free to continue asking those questions. We'll try to answer them as best as we can.
Thank you. And to put you on the spot now, Dan, was there anything that you wanted to add from a Go Wi-Fi perspective?
No, I think you pretty much covered everything there, Ben. That was very good, very informative.
So hopefully there's been quite a bit of information that people have been able to get out of today's webinar. They've been able to start to see how they can utilize some of the Grandstream solutions in a different way, think of it from a different perspective, to be able to tie those into solving some of the challenges and some of the questions that people have working from a home environment. And obviously, if people have questions around a specific product or a specific scenario that they're wanting to build a solution for, they can obviously feel free to reach out to the guys at Go Wi-Fi. I'm sure they'd be more than happy to assist. If anyone wants to reach out to myself directly, my email address is ben.miall@grandstream.com. and I'll be happy to assist or direct you in the right direction as well.
Yeah, just actually did have one thing. If there was a couple of people asking about configuration guides and that. So Grandstream actually do have a lot of really good informative how-to PDF guides on their website. So if you go to grandstream.com, look at the product that you're interested in, and then there's an option to go to more resources, and then where you pick up the user manual, and you'll find they quite often have, they have at least a dozen how-to guides for every product, just about. So very informative, and we've also got quite a lot on our knowledge base now as well for Grandstream, so which is help.gowifi.co.nz. But if you've got any specific requests of ones that aren't on there, feel free to fire them through to me, and I can write them up.
Absolutely. There is a lot of that information available through both of those platforms for people to be able to get hold of the either the configuration guide or even just some quick configuration templates or some quick configuration steps that people may need to deploy a specific solution. So I think there's still a couple of questions coming through, so we might leave it for another couple of minutes. So we'll leave it there for people to post any questions that they have. I'll thank everyone for attending today's webinar. As I say, hopefully there's been some information or some suggestions or some concepts that you've gained some knowledge about, and some things that you may not have considered previously. Any further questions from everyone, or I think we may have got to the point where we've exhausted all the questions? No, I think we've got to the end of it. Looks like everyone's starting to leave, and there's no further questions coming through. So once again, thank you for your time, everyone, and keep safe during these particularly challenging times. Thank you. Good morning.